When you think about dancing, you think about the music, how it makes you move, but seldom do people think about where they dance and what they dance on. The rhythm, the beat, the music, those all unintentionally move your body. Something that helps me understand people is what supports them. And that's the thing that people forget, and that's the dance floor. When you walk into a room, example, a club, people spent time trying to make that vibe in that room feel a certain way. Those are simple, subtle little things that most people won't ever realize. Entryway, positioning, lighting, smell, temperature. These are all things that make us feel a certain way that we really just don't take into consideration. When I began to think about building a dance floor, it started out simple. We just wanted a floor that wouldn't hurt us like we've been dancing on for years. Concrete, linoleum, hardwood, all these floors have a similar downfall. That's the ability to spring. Knowing we wanted a sprung floor, we needed to come up with material, dimensions, and design. I was hard pressed to convince everyone to go with a circle floor, even though I knew it would be harder to make. A circle dance floor to me is just more inviting. Any dance competition that I've ever been to, I've always seen people form a circle and dance in the middle of those circles. No matter what the ground they were dancing on, they formed it naturally. Once I had the full scale idea in my mind, I was able to take and lay out all the plywood, and we went meticulously and looked at each grain and where it would lay out based on our miniature scale, and chose every single piece specifically for a part of the floor. After the routering was done, we took exercise mats, the snap together mats that you see everywhere, and cut them into 4x4 squares, and we glued them with spray adhesive to the bottom of the plywood every 2 feet, and the squares were stacked on each other so it made a full inch thickness. Once the floor was assembled in a square, I measured into the center of the floor, and I positioned a center piece, which was a pick, and I tied a string to the pick, and it went out to the edge of the wood, and then I made a protractor mark in a circular pattern around the outside of the floor. With this perfect circle mark around, then I was able to take a jigsaw and cut the excess off. With the edge cut, then I came back with the router and made a groove cut all the way around the perimeter of the floor. Later on, this groove cut is used to put a steel braided cable that goes around the perimeter inside of the groove, and it just stops short of each other on one side and is connected to a turnbuckle, and the turnbuckle is what cinches up the cable and it keeps the floor tight. For the detail on the floor, I started by outlining an image of a scientific beaker to represent what we like to refer to the area we dance in as the lab. With this symbol being designed and taped off, I was able to then burn the wood on the outside areas that were not represented by the beaker shape. Some lettering and detail work were put into the bubbles coming out of the beaker. There was blue stain used inside of the beaker to transition from the dark to a color and then to a light pine inside. By burning and staining, there is no layer being placed on top of the surface of the wood. After the design was put in with the burning and the staining, then a polyurethane oil-based coat was placed on top. After each coat, it was sanded down with 320 grit sandpaper, and a new coat was applied. Our cure process after the final coat of polyurethane took 9 days. These 9 days for us felt like months. The overall build minus wait time was 60 hours. You, me, anyone that wants to do something can figure out how to do it and take the time to complete it. Here at the RockSmiths, we talk about therapy and how to fight depression and anxiety. And there's so many ways that you can do that. One of the best ways is to sink your mind into a project. This has been B-Boy Journey, shouting out to you guys, saying if you want to do something, get out there, do it. Be somebody. Don't think about who or what anyone says about what you're doing. You're in control, and make yourself happy.